Good day, everybody. How are you? I am back with life hacks that you can use. What is it? Life hacks that you can use for your everyday living, basically. I'm sure the correct title is going to come back and get me. But we've already gone over life hack number 1, and that was stillness. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the conversation. Today's life hack is going to be detachment. 4 life hacks to live by. Hello. Welcome to the conversation, everybody. How are you? This conversation today is in support of the next round of transformation at my online coaching school, Personal Power University. We start on January 14th. We are going to be coming out the blocks swinging in 2020, ready to up-level our living, our quality of life. Hey, Ebony. Welcome to the conversation, y'all. I was kind of like, I got on super late last night. I went to see a screening of the movie Just Mercy. I highly recommend that you check it out. Super, super powerful film. It's one of those types of films that made me wish that if I were to go to school and be super, super purposeful about a degree that we probably need, it would be like being a lawyer and going and doing championing work like this gentleman in the movie. So powerful, man. So super powerful. The other thing that I probably would get a degree in first, just because it's a passion, is psychology. Right? What's up, PMO? How you doing? Hey, Holly. Welcome to the conversation, y'all. So today we're going to be talking about a life hack that you can use, and I want to see if we can get you to use these things practically. That means put them to use in your everyday living, not just philosophize about it, not just talk about it, not just talk about it like it's a concept, but actually use it in everyday living. That's where this stuff becomes applied knowledge and then in turn wisdom. Right? And that's what Personal Power University is about. I am giving you tools that you can take and use in your life now. Not something we're going to just talk about and kind of, toss around ideas about, which of course we will do because we're always stretching in perspective. But my goal is to give you put tools in your life tool belt so that you can use this forever. You feel me? Hey, Ronald, sending love to you too. Shout out. Okay, so today we're going to talk about detachment. Let me put this quote on your mind to kind of get you simmering with the subject matter. And then I'm going to put another quote. I'm going to put a couple quotes on your mind to kind of get you to think about detachment and what it can mean to you in your life. So the first quote is, not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should ever own you. Not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should ever own you. That's a way to think about detachment. That's one way to think about detachment. And that was by Ali Talib. Another way for us to think about detachment and how you can use it practically in your life is from Buddha. Buddha said, being fully alive in the moment, without any story, without being hooked by what is happening in the moment. So that means that you don't have any preconceived notions or expectations of whatever it is you're getting ready to experience or that you're currently experiencing. You're just being present and allowing it to happen. And from that, sorry, I didn't put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And from that is the experience. So no expectations, no preconceived notions, just being fully present in the moment and seeing what does it have to show you? What does it have to offer you? Right? Okay, welcome to the conversation, everybody. This conversation is in support of the next round of transformation at my online coaching school, Personal Power University. So I am bringing you a 4-part series. It's called Life Hacks to Live By. The first life hack that we went over is stillness. Super powerful conversation. If you didn't catch it, the talk is probably still on my Facebook timeline, or you can go and check it out on my YouTube channel, Rhona Bennett. Really, really powerful stuff, because the stuff that I'm bringing to you, I want you to take it and use it in your everyday life. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it applied knowledge, in turn, wisdom, right? Okay. So those are the first 2 quotes I wanted to kind of put out there to kind of set the tone for talking about detachment. So if you notice, both of the life hacks complement one another. Both of them speak about being present in order to access it. So for stillness, right, it requires a certain measure of presence to access stillness. You're not obsessing about the future. You're not obsessing about the past. You're allowing yourself to be present in the now, right? And then you have detachment, which is not having expectations of the moment. How many of us need to let go of our expectations so that we can allow life to just happen and show us what it needs to show us, possibly to put us on track for what we say we really want? Some of us feel like we desire something, right? And then we have a specific way that we think that desire is going to happen, or a specific way that we think that desire needs to happen. And so because we're attached to a specific outcome, possibly we're pushing away other possibilities, other ways that this thing can show up, because we're so blinded by just seeing that there's only one or two possibilities, or maybe even one way. This is the way I was told to go, or this is the way I thought I would have to go. And so you don't even pay attention to the other possibilities that could be bubbling up for it to take place in another way, for it to manifest in another way. How many of you deal with that you're really attached to an outcome, and quite possibly just from thinking about it right now, you're like, maybe I'm being a little rigid and I'm not allowing life to show up as it's intending to show up, because quite possibly, let me give you an example. Let's see if y'all are saying anything before. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the conversation. So quite possibly you're so married to an idea that it's stunting your growth, or it's posing a block to the actual thing that you desire. What if you need another experience to happen to you before that thing happens in order for you to have the thing, or have the experience, or have the relationship? What if there's something that needs to grow in you in order to have it, but because you think that what you want needs to happen a certain way, you push away the other things that are coming up for you to experience, that are possibly preparing you for the thing? Who in the chat is holding on to something? Who in the chat is very attached to an outcome, and quite possibly you're realizing that maybe you're holding on a little too rigidly, or you might be in the way of your own manifestation. You might be in the way of your own creation happening, because you have too much of a narrow-minded point of view about how it can happen. Could be a relationship, could be a job, could be anything, an experience that you'd like to have, a place that you'd like to visit. Who's holding on to, who has a very specific way that they think something has to happen or needs to happen, and quite possibly they're realizing, hey Tiffany, quite possibly they're realizing that they're in the way of the thing that they want, because they're too attached to a specific outcome and not allowing more of the possibilities for how it can happen to show up. And pay attention to that. Learn from that, right? Some of us, for detachment, I got my notes. Y'all know how I do with my notes. Yeah, gosh. Okay, there's a few ways we could talk about detachment. Hey, Marcus. Welcome to the conversation, darling. Who's afraid of the unknown? Hey, Christopher. Yes, you got to be open to the detours, right, Tiffany? Hey, darling. Right? Because, I can always use myself as an example. I thought I was giving up on my entertainment career, period. And I was like, all right, well, you guys know the story. I refuse to be unhappy. What else am I going to do? Okay, I guess I'm going back to this decade-old dream that I have, and I'm going to flush it out and make it a real thing. And that's what happened. I really turned my attention from what I thought I wanted in that moment, which was my career to open back up, opportunities to open back up, to reestablish relationships, but these things were not happening. So I'm like, okay, doors aren't budging. Am I just pushing, attached to an outcome? and not allowing maybe some room or space for something else to happen that could be preparing me or helping me to grow through something that I needed to see about myself, because I sure did need to see something about myself in that time. I needed to grow. I needed to change. I needed to shift because I had gotten lazy in some aspects, which was, taking me out of my disciplines that made me successful in the first place. I had gotten complacent. I wasn't planting seeds within my, my vision. I wasn't putting it in the ground and watering it with attention so it could grow. There was a lot of things I had gotten away from. And probably the Most High was trying to get my attention for a minute. And not until it put me on my knees did I get the message. And then it was like, nope, but you still can't have that yet, because I got to make sure you got the message so that when I do bring you the bounty or I do bring you the thing, that you're prepared to sustain and maintain it. Yeah, we could get the thing, but if you're not ready for it, it's like it could fall through your hands anyway. So why not embrace the unknown? Why not embrace, if it's not happening, that maybe something else is intended to be here right now? Detach from the idea that things have to happen a certain way, right? Detach from the idea that if it's not happening now, that something's wrong with the manifestation. Quite possibly you need this time to make whatever tweaks or grow in whatever way or develop whatever skills to prepare for or be prepared for the thing to come into your life so that you can sustain and maintain it. What do you think? Talk to me. Welcome to the conversation, everybody. If you're just joining, we are talking about the second life hack that I am sharing in the series 4 life hacks for you to live by. I want you to be able to take this information, make it practical, apply it to your everyday living. Not, have it be some kind of floaty philosophical idea, because detachment can sound really, kind of floaty sometimes, and we could definitely spiritualize it, but I want to make it practical. Like, this is how we use it in everyday life. How do we use it at work? How do we use it in our relationships? How do we use it just in any situation or scenario? Detachment, and how powerful it can be. It can sometimes speed up the manifestation of what you say you want, you think you want, because you're out of the way. You surrender. You surrender to the present moment and you allow it to be. Yeah. Yes, beautiful. Got some people who are co-signing it because it's such a powerful thing. And sometimes we don't know that because we are so attached to a specific outcome, we're not allowing the other things to come in that actually, if we let it in, it could break down the barriers or dissolve whatever blocks we think we're experiencing that's going to get us to where we need to go. Like maybe spirit is bringing it to you, or the universe, or I don't know what you think about whatever source of intelligence is greater than your own, the thing that created you and allows everything to coexist. If you can have a conversation with that, maybe it knows what you need more than you know what you need to get to that big goal. And so if we get more comfortable with accepting and being okay with operating in the unknown, now we're really allowing the special sauce of life to happen. Because if you've set your intentions, it also can inspire you to live a more intention-filled life. Because I don't know how many of you are like me. Hey, Charles. I don't know how many of you are like me. But if I feel like I've done my part with something, then it makes me feel more deserving. Like if I know I did what I was supposed to do, if I know I stayed disciplined about this, or if I know I planted my seeds and I've been giving it my attention, if I know I did my meditation and I did my visualization and then I leave it so that God can take it and do what needs to be done, if I know I've done my part, then I can feel even more comfortable allowing the mystery of life to unfold and embracing it, accepting it, trusting the path. Because, hey, I set my intentions, right? I'm doing my part. Okay, now let me see what life needs to show me or wants to show me to get to the manifestation. Yes, I do have a way I think I want to get to it. Yes, I do have a way I think I could get to it. But if something comes up, can I be present enough to detach from the way I thought I needed to go in order to get whatever jewel could be waiting for me in the now moment? Hey, Trey. Can I get okay? Because that's powerful too. To live an intention-filled life is very powerful. Hey, Tony. Bless up. Good to see you, beauty. Living an intention-filled life is super, super powerful. It's something that I like to do before a lot of my moments throughout the day. I'm like, right now I'm intending to drive safely and be protected while I roam in open spaces. Right now I'm intending to give an incredible talk and to be used as a vessel to have information downloaded into me and delivered in only the way that the Most High can through me. Intend. Get clear about what you desire, yes. But then if it shows up a little different, or if the path is a little different, can we loosen the grip on the steering wheel? Can we detach from the way we thought it needed to go? Can we detach from the way that we thought it would have to happen in order for it to happen? Faith without works is dead. Hello. Christopher says, I think in these days and times, people are not willing to let their defense down in order for things to manifest. Yes. So that is the power of what we're talking about right now. Detachment. Learning the power of detaching from something. Learning the power of operating in the present moment, so that whatever does bubble up, which is operating in the mystery of life, operating in uncertainty a lot of times, right? Uncertainty is the adventure, right? There are some jewels I got on my journey that came out of uncertainty that I would not have gotten in the certain walk. I just wouldn't have gotten it. I needed some things to scare me into another space of being. I needed to, hit my butt on the ground. I needed to be a little stressed so that I made some real solid changes so I wouldn't go back there anymore. And it wasn't a little stressed, it was a lot stressed, to be honest. I needed it. Hindsight 2020, right? I needed that. How many of us in this chat probably need some of the things that are happening to us, but we're resisting it? And what we resist persists. It can persist. We're resisting it. We're thinking that the pain, even if pain is here, you're thinking that the pain is here to hurt you. Yeah, but maybe it's hurting you for your good. What is it here trying to tell you? What is the painful path that you're on? Maybe you're pushing too hard. Are you forcing a fit somewhere? And you need to detach from the energy that you're in, thinking that you got to push in that way. Or you need to detach from the idea that you got to keep going this way in order to get it. And so it's causing you pain. And the pain is an indicator that this isn't necessarily the right direction for you right now. This isn't necessarily what's going to get you to where you say you want to go. Are we allowing these triggers and signals to come up and teach us something because we're not so attached to how we think things should go or need to go or are supposed to go? Can we relinquish whatever it is we think in the moment and just get in the present moment and say, what is here for me to learn? What is here for me to gain from this experience? What is it trying to tell me? Do I need to reevaluate how I'm approaching something? Do I need to reevaluate how I'm approaching a person? You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff is here as an indicator to help us get on track with what it is we say we desire. Are we resisting that? And if you're resisting it, now this is like your gentle nudge. This is your gentle reminder that says maybe you're resisting somewhere that you could stand to release about. Detach from the energy you're in. Detach from the idea you have about it that makes you think you got to go about it a certain way. Detach from something that you might need to let go of. Hello. A relationship, a person. Is it based in fear? Is it a fear-driven behavior? Detach, even from some of the material things that you think you might need or want. Why do you want it? Go a little deeper. Maybe detachment also teaches us to go a little deeper and ask why we want some of the things we want. Why do we want that person so much? What do they represent to us or for us in our mind? Why do I need that Gucci purse? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? What does it really mean on a deeper level? What am I trying to achieve? And can I get that from a different source? If, need be, so that it gets me closer and closer to my authentic self, so I can keep listening more and more to my authentic me. I mean, there's so much that detachment can teach us. Let's see what else I wrote down here. I heard this really funny story from, I think her name is Reverend Wendy, and she was saying that she was on some jet skis out with some friends, and she was learning how to get on top of the jet skis in the water. I guess you're supposed to somehow, whatever the technique is, you're supposed to let the water get up underneath you and pick you up. But for whatever reason, she could not get the water to get up underneath her and pick her up. So every time she was just dragging in the water, but instead of letting go, she was holding on to the bar. And she was, you know how if your a boat is going really fast, and if something it's not submerged, so it's pulling through the water, if it's going on top of the water, a lot of times it's going to be skipping, just like a boat does, right? It hits the waves really hard. That's what she was doing with her body. She said she did that 3 times, and every single time she did not let go of the bar. And the quote that she got out of it was, let go or be dragged. How many of us need to let go of something, detach, so that whatever you got to do, you don't beat yourself up, right? She said she was told she couldn't even barely move the next day, bruised all over her body. How many of us do this figuratively, spiritually, to ourselves? Isn't it deep, Christopher? It's a powerful concept, and if we can get it, a lot of us can get free of something tonight, right now, just from this conversation. How many of us are holding on too tight to something, and it is beating you up? Your body, figuratively speaking, is getting battered and bruised just because you just won't let go. Right? And quite possibly just by letting go, even though it's scary maybe, just by letting go, you're going to get so much more freedom on the other side, because at least it's not driven by fear anymore. That kind of fear, at least you've accessed courage in spite of fear. Which means there's still fear there, but I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. How many need to let go, loosen the grip on something? Another means of detachment. Let's see what else I got down here. Yeah, that's one of the things that I wrote down. Just reminds me of what we were just talking about earlier as it pertains to living intention filled. Making sure that you're clear about what you do desire, and that you're able to speak it, even write it, so that you do have clarity with what you desire, but also leaving the room for something greater than yourself to help you in co-creating the manifestation of it. And the way you can do that, one of the ways you can do that, is by practicing detachment from the outcome. Also takes me to that one quote that says, it's about the journey, not the destination. Of course, we want to get to the destination, but think about all of the amazing things that happen on the journey to get you to the destination. And quite possibly, it's who you're becoming, so that by the time you get to the destination, it means something else to you, or it's a whole other level of accomplishment, or you've changed direction because you keep refining. Refining who you are, refining what you desire, refining what it means to you, getting more and more clear and stronger within your authentic self, which of course can shift what we desire for ourselves. Being open to more of the possibilities of how something can unfold. Let's see, Charles says, Christopher says, wouldn't it be hard to detach relationship-wise if you're going through so much for so long? Sure, but I mean, that reminds me of let go or be dragged. Now, it depends on what you want from your relationship, right? You know what I mean? Like, what does the relationship represent? And what is the battle you're fighting together? Some of us, you know, I have to speak just from watching my parents, who were married for 44 years, you know, that their value system aligned with each other a lot. And so even though they went through their moments of difficulty, because certain things were in place, they, for all I know, just they stuck it out. And then they ended up with a deeper level of intimacy that most people don't get to see because they don't stick it out. But some of us are holding on to things that let go or get dragged. We're getting beat up and bruised and battered. And it's like, have you checked in with yourself for your boundaries and your values? Are you resisting it for a reason? Well, what is it? You know, I think it requires a bit deeper probing of questions so that you know why Hi, you know why you're holding on like that. And if it's something that is I don't know how to say healthy enough, but for lack of a better word in this moment, healthy enough to keep pushing through to do. Because I mean, how many relationships we don't know what they went through, but somehow, some way they got through things that you might say, heck no, I wouldn't deal with that. But who are we to say, you know? Some people have their twin flames on deck. They got things to learn from each other. It can be a tumultuous relationship, but it's a soul connection. And so, you know, it's so much deeper than a surface thing. So you might be willing to go through much more with a twin flame than you would with somebody else. It just depends. Right? So I really think it comes down to you and what you value and what you want from your long-term partnership. It can help you make a better decision. Charles said, I had to let go of a 17-year friendship, someone I called a brother. It hurt at first, but I feel so free. Bless up. So there was the reward on the other side of letting something go that sounds like it may have been toxic for you. And a willingness to detach so that you could get to that freedom was necessary. And sometimes detachment can bring people back together, but in a healthier way. If it's really, really toxic and you need to reestablish or establish in the first place some boundaries, if you need to get in touch with you because you're totally out of touch with yourself, maybe, which may be why you're allowing certain things to happen in your relationship that aren't the healthiest. Maybe that pause is exactly what you need. Yet again, detaching from how you think you're going to get somewhere in order to get to it. Open to the possibilities. Yes, clear vision 2020, know your own path. We get frustrated trying to blaze a trail that's not our own. Sis Shirlene said you can't be blessed doing the great value version of a vision God gave. So, shucks, I can't, it's not. God gave somebody else, got you. You can't be blessed doing the great value version of a vision God gave somebody else. Hello. So what are your thoughts on detachment, everybody? Anybody want to jump in and either speak on maybe in what way in their life they may be needing to detach? Is anybody afraid to detach from something? Is anybody needing greater insight for what they might be confused about detaching from? Does anybody want to flush out the idea of detachment a little bit more? Talk to me. Talk to me. Yeah, detachment is not about forcing anything. It's about a state of allowance. You know, can you allow things to be what they are and not get attached to it needing to be a certain way or happen a certain way? This is a practice, not necessarily easy. We all know that, right? But if you start practicing this, imagine the amount of stress you would alleviate in your life. If you detach from the outcome of something, imagine how much more freedom in your mind, your mental space, that you would be freeing up to receive different ideas from different people, from wherever, because you're not limited. You're not tunnel vision. Sometimes we need tunnel vision, but also we need to, what was the quote? It's too good to not say it again. Not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should ever own you. So it's not that you can't desire something, but if it doesn't show up in quite that way, or it doesn't show up at all, can you get okay with that? Detach from needing to have it. Is there another way that you can generate the feeling that that thing was possibly going to give you, which is the reason that you wanted it in the first place? Can you generate the feeling of whatever the things are that you want to experience so that it even makes your point of attraction greater? Because once you get into the feeling of it, the energy of having it, quite possibly you're going to vibrate where that thing is and it can come to you easier. But beyond that, can you generate if you feel like an amazing relationship, love relationship, romantic relationship would bring you so much joy and self-contentment, can you generate that feeling from within yourself on your own first? which could then help with not attaching to where you think that feeling can come from, that fulfillment can come from. And then quite possibly your compliment's going to slide right in. Just because you got it on your own. Hey, Trey. Trey says, just had to distance myself from a business partner. I have to reshoot the projects. Yeah, sometimes that happens, right? Does anybody else want to share anything about detachment before we get out of here? And does anybody want to share anything about what they've heard today from me, or, you know, give me some feedback about it? What do you think about it? This is so interesting. It gets really dark early now. Marcel Smith, you detach from life support when you're healed. Detach from the life support and walk in your healing. Bless up. So that almost kind of echoes too to me, being able to generate a lot of those things that you desire from within yourself. There's that beautiful personal walk. Or your walk with God, or whatever way you fill yourself up spiritually, doing the healing you may need to do emotionally. Hey, Brian. This talk is in support of the next round of transformation at my online coaching school, Personal Power University. If you think that you'd be interested in joining the PPU family, write yes in the comments below. Hopefully you've been enjoying today's content and getting something from it, and something that you can actually take and use. January 14th. The next round of transformation starts at PPU. So are we complete today? Let's see. Yeah. Are we complete today? I think detaching from things also can help us to do some of the growing that we may need to do on a personal level, so that you can detach in a healthy way. Bless up, Brian. You know, sometimes we're afraid because maybe we do need to do the work on the inside of ourselves in order to feel a bit more confident in letting things go and trusting the process of life. A lot of us might not trust the unknown, trust the mystery of life where all of the adventure happens, because we need to do a little bit more work on ourselves so that we can feel more confident in who we are, how we're moving, so that you can detach from maybe the things that you need to detach from. That's one thought. And then also just detaching from thinking, detaching from outcomes, leaving room for greater possibilities, leaving room for greater ways for something to happen. Oh, Charles, that's so cool. Bless up. That would be super dope if you came to PPU. Does anybody else want to share about detachment before we get out of here? Very powerful concept. If you've missed the talk, definitely listen back to it, and then try it. If you've been resisting something, maybe it's time to detach from the idea that you have surrounding it that's creating so much resistance. If you feel like doors of opportunity aren't budging, they're not opening, why? Maybe you're too attached to the way you think it's going to happen. Are you too attached to the way that you think something's going to happen? And so because you're not seeing results in a certain kind of way, you think it's not happening, or you're ready to quit on it. Is it time possibly to loosen the grip that you have on the reality you think has to happen in order for your dream to manifest, or in order for your goal to take root, or in order for the relationship to happen, or in order for the healing to happen? Okay. Hope today's talk was good for you. Charles says, I had to get another producer. Everything just flowed when we hooked up. He's been a longtime friend, someone I didn't want to work with in the beginning, but ended up being being very professional. Also very responsive when other producers just stop by. Okay, stop him. Okay. Bless up. And sometimes, right, when we declutter in that way energetically, it makes room for something or someone else to come in that's more suited for our highest good. But if we're so scared and holding on and resisting, attached, quite possibly we're in the way of the manifestation. And if you feel like you want more help with learning how to dig into the things that you need to possibly detach from, join PPU. Let's go on the walk together, 12 weeks of transformation. It's a holistic approach to success. We deal with the mind, the body, the heart, and the spirit. Because I know, at least from my experience, that success is definitely not just about acquiring things. You could have all the things you want in the world, but with no peace of mind, what quality of life are you living? You know? Bless up, Tiffany. Right? You could have all the things in the world, but with no peace of mind, you might not even be able to enjoy those things. You could have all the things in the world, but if you have some of the closest relationships to you in your life broken down, they're possibly being energy vampires to your happiness and well-being. What's your quality of life doing? Are you worth doing the self-surgery, even if you get assistance from someone like myself or whoever you need to go to, so that you don't keep, allowing it to pose a block to your prosperity? Are you worth the self-surgery? Some of your greatest freedom is on the other side of doing this kind of work. And then once you clean up that block, little did you know how much energy it was zapping from your ability to manifest. Maybe just opening that up makes you feel lighter. Maybe just opening that up restores a bit of your heart space. Who knows? Maybe there's shame you need to detach from. So a lot of us could be carrying around, forgive me, shame, and that could be posing a block to your prosperity too, because I know that when I have felt shame, I didn't feel deserving of something, even though I wanted it. But if you don't deal with it, if you don't heal it, if you don't dig into why it's there so that you can move beyond it, it could be posing a block to your creations, what you want for yourself. You may want a healthy romantic relationship, but if you have shame about one in the past, bless up. If you have shame about one in the past, you may not allow yourself to feel deserving to have a healthier relationship moving forward until you heal that shame about the past. If it's present, if you're dragging the past into the present. So if you feel like you want some assistance with healing in that area, let's dive in. Quite possibly that's, hey Beth, where you need your healing. Quite possibly that's where you don't realize you got to do the work to get to the thing you want to get to. Quite possibly you're repressing, you're attached to that thing, and it's time to create detachment from that thing so that you can free up some energy, you can free up your mental space, you can free up your heart space, you can free up spiritually to allow something greater in. I know a lot of us are afraid to do that kind of work though, too. But sometimes, a lot of times, it's some of the best work you could ever do. Your freedom, or a lot of it, or more of it, could be on the other side of doing the work. I watch it all the time. And some people don't even know that they needed the work until they get it and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Or thank God I feel the difference, or whatever that thing is. So like I said, if you're interested in seeing whether we would be a good fit at PPU, don't be afraid to write yes in the comments, and I'll reach out to you in a direct message and we'll see. Okay? Other than that, I'm sending love out to everybody. If you don't have any further questions of me or anything you want to share, I'm a bounce. Okay? Okay. Looks like we're complete. Until next time, I will be back with life hack number 3. Be ready, be ready.